welcome to Above Life channel. The purpose here is to inspire your spirit and to fill you with hope. Today, I know it's Wednesday, but hey, I wanted to try to get some kind of a video in this week, and I wasn't feeling real great on Monday. So I wanted to connect with you. So I hope this works for ya. I am feeling better and better each day, moment to moment, it seems. I've got ups and downs, emotionally, mental health wise, it's tough. And I'm not used to my body feeling so tired and fatigued, but I'm being as compassionate with myself as I can. So can you let me know if you can hear me? Can you give me a thumbs up? I have no idea if I'll be able to see. Hey Patty, nice to see you. If I'll be able to actually read the comments as they go because they're small and I'm on my phone. So yes, you can hear me. Thank you. So I wanted to be able to fill you in on an interesting little tidbit. I'm not going to necessarily do a full-on channeling right now, but since I have a really, oh shoot, I should have brought the postcards I have. I have to fill you in on something as to how my heart surgery is related to the Kennedys. Like, totally 100% legit. Like, I was fangirling from my hospital bed, okay? Nice to see you as you're popping in on Above Life channel. If you haven't been here for a while and you're like, where have you been? Well, I've been recovering from open heart surgery. In fact, yesterday I had some really amazing news that I'm looking forward to sharing with you. And that is, the first amazing news is I got my bandages off. My nurse, who comes to the house here to check on me a couple times a week, she was like, oh, and I affectionately referred to as the tape bandage thing that goes all the way down the incision down my sternum. Because it's literally open heart surgery, you guys. Like, yeah, they crack you open like a nut. Seriously. I know it's disgusting, but I have to be funny about it because if I really think about it too much, I'll vomit. And I will also not be able to breathe because right now my chest and my bones and everything are trying to heal. And I can feel that and yeah. But I affectionately referred to my bandage as my bacon because it literally looks like bacon because it's a piece of white steri strip kind of material that because you wear t-shirts and sweatshirts and hoodies and all that, and the lint from the inside of your shirt rubs off on it. And that's pretty much all you wear, FYI, because everything is all uncomfortable and sore and all that. Like really sore and really painful, and the ribs and the lungs and everything freaking hurts and feels bruised and all that. And so my bacon got pulled off yesterday because she said, because it's supposed to like peel down little by little by little. And she said, I think it's ready to come off. Would you like me to help you with it? And I said, yes, please, because I didn't want to do it. I thought, oh, that's disgusting. Because what if I pulled it off and it like I saw my skin or something. Do you know what I mean? Like I was so grossed out. Hey, good morning. Hi. Hi, Drew. Nice to see you. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Patty. Hey, Anna. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you. So I'm going to make fun of my owie. And if you'd like to see it, if you don't want to see it, look away. Look away, baby. Baby, look away. Okay. But I'm getting used to it at first. It was really, really difficult. In fact, I did a video right after I got out of the ICU when I was at a hotel literally across the street. I did a video that showed me seeing my scar for the first time because I hadn't seen it really. And that was right before I took my first shower after a week. And it was so emotional for me. And I'm like, I want to capture this because it wasn't vanity. It wasn't like, oh my God, now I'm ugly because I have a scar. It wasn't like that. It was this awareness that my body was literally cut in half. My chest was cut in half, was divided. And I think about that from a spiritual perspective of like masculine, feminine, and the fact that my heart was torn apart. It literally was. And that's why I had this surgery. What I had was, if you're new here or if you haven't heard, I had an aortic dissection. You can Google that if you want. I had type A, and it's completely unexpected. I'm very healthy person, did not have high blood pressure symptoms or anything like that. I didn't even have heart pains or anything like that leading up to it. In fact, I had flu-like symptoms for 3 days prior, and that was it. And the aortic dissection, actually 80% of people who have it die. Like, they don't get to the hospital. It ruptures. So your aorta, the muscle connected to the heart, it just ruptures. The blood kind of pools back in and it kind of drowns you, or it ruptures, right? Like it stops working. And so for me, I was so lucky, it's unbelievable. 80% of people who have this condition just die because people don't know, you don't know about it. It just happens, you just die all of a sudden. In fact, John Ritter died of an aortic dissection. John Ritter, the comedian. Yep, How I Met Your Mother, was it not How I Met Your Mother? 13 Rules to Dating My Teenage Daughter, I think was his thing, and also Jack Tripper, Three's Company. He died from that, aortic dissection. And so it's not like people think heart attack, cardiac arrest, whatever. And if people think you're having a cardiac arrest, a heart attack, and they do chest compressions on you, it will kill you. Your heart will just rupture. It will kill you. So if they think you're having a heart attack and they treat you like that, or if you lose consciousness and they try to do CPR, it very, very likely will kill you. So I'm like, oh, great. So I get to the hospital. I'm doing great. I'm in the 20 percentile. And then I find out that I have to do this surgery immediately within a half an hour of me getting there. They're like, we need to get you into surgery now. And so I'm like, okay. And he's like, the surgeon said, so how long have you known you've had an aneurysm? And I'm like, a what? And he said, you have something called an aortic dissection. And he said, it's a life-threatening condition. He said, if we don't operate on you within the next 2 hours, you will die. And he said, and the surgery is high risk. I'm like, what does that mean? Well, 30% of the people that get the surgery live. 30% live. Did you understand that? That means 70% of the people that actually make it to the hospital, of the 20% that make it to the hospital, 70% die in the surgery. Now, granted, it's because this heart situation is usually for old people, not for young people. So when somebody like me, who's like just hit 50, has it, and I'm like healthy and don't have any other symptoms, there's usually underlying things, which I have to now go to the Mayo Clinic and get tests for all sorts of like vascular or connective tissue diseases and things like that, because there's a potential for some genetic thing, or it's just a random fluke. So I have to do all sorts of, follow up and stuff. And so anyway, so that's that. So that's what's happened. And that happened on October 13th into October 14th. I had 9 hours worth of surgery. After that, I had another, I think, 8 hours in recovery and in being intubated. I was fully intubated and I had bypass. So I was breathed and my heart was stopped and I was breathed by machines. So my body was taken offline. So it'll be a whole interesting thing for us to have conversations about in the future, because there's a lot of stuff I got from that experience, during that experience, that happened to me. And I look forward to sharing that at some point, but I need to process it because it's a lot. So I came back kicking. I'll say that. Came back kicking. And I think I'm probably one of the only people that's ever actually been checked out of the CV ICU. CV is the cardiovascular intensive care unit at Cape Cod Hospital. This is where the Kennedy connection comes in. So Cape Cod Hospital is in Hyannis. Anybody might know what is also in Hyannis or Hyannisport, Massachusetts? I will really need to post the videos that I have of prior to this experience, because I'm going to back up a little bit and share with you. So Hyannisport, Hyannis in Massachusetts, is where the Kennedy compound is. So where John F. Kennedy and all the Kennedy fam used to go hang out, right? It's a big deal. And I knew that. And before I was going away for this weekend with some friends of mine, and we were driving, we went and picked up our friend in Boston at the airport, and we were heading down to, where were we going? We were going to Provincetown, Massachusetts. And on the way, we drove by the exit that said Hyannis. And my friend that was driving said, "Hey, Hyannis." And I'm like, "Oh," she's like, "Do you want to stop?" And I'm like, "Yes, can we please? And she's like, "Absolutely, we could stop." I'm like, "All right, let's do it." So we went and we found the Kennedy compound, and I totally got busted by a guy in a red truck who was not very happy with me, because what I did was I did the same thing, you guys, that I did when I was in Washington State and I did the Kurt Cobain house. I had my sister drop me off and I just walked around, because that's like way better than like a car and stuff, you know, and because people can walk around, right? So I had that happen. I did that here. I said, "Just drop me off, you guys, just drop me off." Because the driveway said private drive, and that said no entry. And there was a couple of houses down the driveway, and then there's this beautiful house right on the ocean. Oh my God. Can I just say how unbelievably beautiful the ocean is here? Maine and Massachusetts, and I haven't been to Vermont. I've been to New Hampshire, but I haven't been to Vermont yet. That's what I'm going to do next time, one of my next trip, because I'm going to come back out here again, probably in the spring next year, I would guess. Maybe summer, probably spring though. I don't know, we'll see. It depends on if I can fly then, I don't know. And I mean, it's just beautiful there. And so I said, "Just drop me off." And so they dropped me off, and I had my phone, and I'm like just walking, and I start walking down the street, the little private street, and all of a sudden this red truck is like parked behind this like gray house, and it starts to come out, and it kind of comes toward me, and I'm taking pictures and I'm talking on my video and all that. So I did a video and stuff, and I have all that, so I should actually just post that maybe for you guys to see. I'll try to do that. Now I don't have my IT guy with me here, and I don't have my laptop, but I'll see if I can figure out a way to do it, because you guys got to see it. I totally got busted, so I just pretended like I played so nice and was like, "Hi." I'm like, "Oh, I'm such a fan." I said, "I came from Minnesota and I just had to see." And he said, well, it says, "It says do not enter." I said, "Oh," I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, I saw that. I figured it meant cars, like you don't want a bunch of cars driving down the road, but I thought it would be fine if I walked down here." He says, no, "Do not enter. No, that just means don't enter, whatever, blah, blah, blah." I was super nice about it. I said, "Oh," I said, "Well," I said, "Okay." I said, I said, "Well, that's fine." I said, "That's fine. At least I got to be here." And I was all happy and whatever, but the guy was kind of a jerk, but that's just, I think, the personality, which is fine. You know, I mean, He didn't know who I was. He didn't know if I was some weird vlogger that was going to break in or something. Because, I mean, I might look innocent, but I am not innocent. So this was before. This was like October 9th I did this. This was on my way down to my little trip that I was taking, okay? And on the trip then in Provincetown is when I got sick. And then they sent me by ambulance an hour back to Hyannis, like 4 days later. Isn't that crazy? So I end up back at the same city, not far from where the Kennedys' house is. And I'm just like, what the heck? It was just crazy. It's just so crazy. Not how I expected to be in Cape Cod, but it was just weird. It was just so weird. And so then, fast forward, it's been a couple weeks. I've been in Maine. I've been staying with a friend of mine who has graciously taken such wonderful care of me in her home, welcomed me into her home, and I just taken over the place, you know, and making sure I'm drinking decaf. In fact, this morning, she bought Starbucks decaf coffee. She didn't bring me Starbucks. She did that yesterday and the day before, but she bought like ground coffee, and she's like, okay, it's decaf. I'm like, okay. And she goes, but you can have more. I'm like, okay. It's so funny. I'm like, I don't really need caffeine that much, do I? Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so it was pretty good. I highly recommend their Christmas blend because that's what we got. It was really good. But yesterday, I had this idea because I knew she had a day off yesterday. She's like a counselor, social worker. She works like in the ER. She also does like facilitation and counseling for individuals and all that too. But she's also had to work extra because of the Lewiston shooting and stuff, the mass shooting that happened here. Yeah, it's like 30 minutes from where I'm at. So I'm here recovering, and all of a sudden there's this mass shooting and we can't even leave the house. It's like a whole thing. I'm like, what? It was just so weird, crazy. But then she gets called in to help facilitate for people who were involved in it, to help kind of work through some of their stuff, you know? So, I mean, that's really sweet, but I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, she's had like 2 major traumas in a short amount of time. I'm like, who's helping you? I mean, she's got counseling, but I'm just like, oh, girl. I'm like, So I'm like, we got to do something fun. I said, we have to do something fun. And so I had this idea to do a vision board because I'm like, I'm new. Like my heart, like my root ball of my aorta ripped. Okay, it tore. It looked like a big teardrop is what they said. So they had to sew it up, and then they had to put this sheath thing in there to reinforce it, put a new valve in there to make sure that I could, you know, survive, I guess. Apparently that's what needed to happen. And so they did all that. And so I'm like, oh, great. I literally had a tear in my heart at my root ball. Is that weird? So freaking weird. But anyway, so I said, we got to do something fun. Let's do some like vision boards. Because she brought me home a couple magazines, like a Christmas magazine and I'm like, dude, you know me. Christmas magazine and a beautiful architecture houses in Maine magazine, which is awesome. I'm like so hatching new plans because the houses in Maine on the beach are beautiful. Oh my God. Wow, you guys. Ooh, I've always wanted to come to Maine, and I have never quite got here. In fact, I actually booked a trip here 2 years ago, and I didn't make it. I went someplace else. I went to Connecticut instead, and just totally changed the whole trajectory of my life for the last 2 years. And now I'm here in Maine, and I've been here for a couple weeks. I love it. I absolutely love it. So while I was in Massachusetts, you know, getting my heart fixed right by the Kennedys and healing from that, okay? I then come here and I'm like, let's do something fun, blah, 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 last week after like I'm finally able to walk around without catching my breath so much, you know, and I'm able to like sleep more than maybe about 4 hours a night, which is great. Still working on it. Right now I feel pretty good, but after this I'm going to be taking a nap because it's too much. I seem good and cheerful because I'm just so relieved that I have news too about, besides my owie, besides my bacon being taken off, I have another piece of news to share with you, which is what makes me so happy. So anyway, so then last night, so we decided we're gonna do vision boards. I said, we gotta do vision boards. We went to the dollar store and got tag board and markers and all the stuff last night. Plus we got pizza because I'm like, I want pizza. She's like, what? I'm like, I want pizza. She's like, that sounds good. I said, but I can't have wine with it. Usually like pizza and wine. She's like, it's okay. You don't have to have wine. I'm like, no. But I'm like, oh, pizza. So we had pizza. It was so good, you guys. Oh my God. And then we went and got more magazines because I was inspired because of the magazines that she had brought me last week. I'm like, let's do vision boards. So we go to the store last night, and guess what I find? This magazine that talks about the Kennedy assassination, you're going to notice a few things for me right now. I will be starting occupational and physical therapy when I get back to Minnesota in a couple weeks, but I do have a bit, my articulation, my speech is a little bit, sometimes it catches. We'll say that it has a hitch to it. And so I talk fast, but sometimes my tongue trips over the words. And part of that is because what happened was the blood flow was crimped. And when I was having the aortic dissection was happening, when the tear was getting really big and it was bleeding out inside of my body, I was losing balance and I was losing blood to the left side of my body, which is why initially the medical people at the urgent care we went to said that because that was the closest place. There was no hospital. It was just like this doctor place like 2 blocks away from where we were at, which was fine. And they were great, by the way. They called the ambulance right away and they took me by ambulance they said, now, we got to go now. Because they didn't have a scanner there. They didn't have a CT scan or anything like that. So they thought there was an assumption being made that I was having a stroke because my tongue was really heavy and my left side was starting to sag. And I couldn't like walk right, like everything, like my left hand felt numb. It still has just a little bit of numbness in it. And a little bit of numbness here, almost like I had a little bit of Novocaine, kind of. And so sometimes I feel it. And my memory, sometimes I repeat things a couple of times, more than I normally do. I know sometimes I do that, it's kind of my style. But a little bit more, you might notice that. And that part is from the anesthesia because I was under for so long. There's definitely after effects for anesthesia when you're under for 17 hours like I was. Plus I was also on bypass. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. The oxygen to the brain thing, and then not breathing yourself, and this whole thing about the connection between the body and the circulatory system, a whole bunch of stuff. So you might notice that a bit. Just know that I am aware of it. It is something that is totally rehabable. We can use rehabilitation and we can fix that. It's not going to get worse or anything like that. But it definitely is a thing, and I know. And that's why they thought I was having a stroke. I wasn't. It wasn't a stroke. The blood flow was just crimped off because of the aorta. It was filling up with blood, and then it was pumping it into my body after that. So the doctor said when I got there, I had 2 hours. He's like 2 hours. We got 2 hours. I'm like, okay, whatever. All right, let's fix it. So the Kennedy assassination, did you know right now, this year, it's 60 years this year. How interesting is that I'm here in New England. I was right in Hyannis. I went to the Kennedy compound and I didn't even know it was 60 years. And I was healing right there. right there at Cape Cod Hospital. I have no idea if they've actually been to Cape Cod Hospital. Maybe they have. But I'm like, how fascinating is that? So when I went to get some fun magazines, old school, look at that, the trivia from the 80s magazines. Got an Oprah magazine, got an architectural magazine. I think she got like a healthy magazine or something fun like that. But this one, she's like, oh, you got to get this one. I'm like, yeah, I do. Oh my goodness, amazing. So it's been 60 years. Fascinating. So I thought, oh my gosh, I have to share that with you guys because it just seems crazy, doesn't it? Like the synchronicities, unfreaking believable. Like I could have joined the afterlife and actually hung out with him and had a conversation. So I'm thinking if they want to chit chat with me, although it's so interesting because you know who I've talked to since I've had this experience. So I have intentionally not been channeling or anything like that on purpose, only for me. I have not thought about my business or my work or anything like that, except for like, oh my God, money, freaking out, stress, like normal people stress, right? I thought about that, but I haven't thought about like, oh, I have to channel. I haven't really thought about that because I don't have that. I can't have that stress right now. But the fact that this is 60 years later, I have to talk to them. I mean, it's so interesting. But you know who has been around? Freddie Mercury. In fact, I'm trying to remember where, this. I open up this magazine and he's on the very back page. Look at that. Can you even imagine? Look at that. It's insane. So I have like heavy hitters like just, hey, loving on me and are like, hey, we think you're awesome. I'm like, hey, thank you. I think you're awesome too. Let's help some people. And Freddie is so focused on the empathic energy and the sensitivity. And right now, especially with like the war in Israel, or I don't even know, I don't follow current events. Plus I've been like out of it. Like literally not paying attention to anything for the last couple weeks and like trying to just be awake half of the day and recover and not be on heavy duty pain meds, which I'm not, by the way, not on heavy duty pain meds. Thank goodness, not anymore. So yay, that's awesome. But Freddie Mercury's been around, and maybe because it's his birthday. Is it his birthday that's coming up, or anniversary of his death? He's got a milestone coming up, and his Kennedy thing is here. But also Matthew Perry just left, and he left. It was a heart thing. I know it was. I don't know if that's official. I don't know if there's a notice yet about that. But he definitely had a cardiac thing. He definitely had a heart thing. His heart looks very weak, like the walls of his heart look really weak, and I don't know what that means. I don't know if he had heart disease or if it was just the drugs and stuff. I don't know, but it looks like the walls of his heart were really, really weak. That's what it looks like to me. And then who else? Somebody else died of a heart attack just recently too. I can't think of who it was. Somebody else, but I'm like, what is with all the heart things? Holy crap. All of a sudden, all of us are like, there's heart things going on. I'm like, whoa, do you know why? It's because we're overwhelmed, you guys. So you and I have a lot of work to do, okay, in the next couple months and into the next year to really lay some foundational supportive structuring for your heart space. Because it's very obvious that our physical hearts are it's taken a toll. The energy is taking a toll, the negativity, the healing that we're not doing for ourselves, and the constant leaks of our energy is affecting us, whether it be current events, global stuff, whether it be heritage, lineage, history, whether it be your physical life and things that you have to deal with, the very tangible things like, a job loss or an illness or a kid that's struggling or whatever it might be, that's real shit, you guys. So we got some work to do, you and I, okay? So what I'd like to do, I gotta take a second. Actually, you know what, I'm gonna take a second. I'll come right back here. Let me see what I got for my timer. I'll take a second. I need to grab I'm gonna get some water. I just need to stand up for just a minute and myself up. Oh shoot. Just a minute. Okay. Oh, I gotta be careful because I can't use my arms for anything. If I get in and out of bed, I have to barrel roll. I can't use my arms because it can rip open layers upon layers of stuff that's glued me back together. I know that sounds disgusting, but it's just the reality of my life right now. So I got water and I got coffee here. Cheers to all of us. Hello, Queen. Nice to see you. I could see everybody. I can't read very well. My eyes are also a little swishy right now. In fact, when I came out of the surgery, my right eye was totally turned in. Completely turned in. It wasn't even going out at all. I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me right now? I had surgery in 2011 to correct the amblyopia, and it was pretty in alignment, but sometimes you could see it. It has been starting. It doesn't last that long. It doesn't last your whole life because it's muscle, and they tighten the muscle and then it wears out. It gets stretched out, like skin, muscle, whatever. And so I knew I'd probably have to have surgery again if I chose to, or I just wouldn't, right? And so I knew that it was starting to, like when I get tired, it goes in. You guys can see it. You'll see it a lot on the videos and stuff, which is like, whatever, fine. But now, when I came out of the surgery, it was totally turned in. I was like, oh my God, I was more upset about that than a scar on my chest. I was like, oh my God, I look horrible, But it is what it is, whatever. I'm alive. I have a body, okay? I'm just grateful to have a body now. I'm not so worried about wrinkles anymore. I'm like, I can walk, I can feed myself, I can breathe on my own. I mean, they were like surprised at how quickly I got off that feeding tube or that breathing tube. They took that thing off. I was so grateful too because I guess it's a big deal. The longer you're on it, it's like a thing, it's like a situation. So I'm grateful that it wasn't as long as it could have been. So anyway, so back here, thinking about vision boards. Let's have a little mini check-in maybe with one of the Kennedys. Maybe we should talk to Jack a little bit. It's interesting because I literally feel like I can come into their living room and I have a round table with all of them, and I did not expect to do a channeling video. So this will be interesting because only people who love my channel on Above Life channel would even stay here in this video to this point to even see a conversation with the Kennedys. So maybe we'll just do a little one and see. Plus, I want to be really careful with my energy because there's been so many people, which I appreciate the well wishes and the energy. But when people send you energy, it's a lot. So prayers is great because you're kind of going through the filter. You're going through the bouncers of the angels and the Jesuses and the Mary Magdalenes and the Joan of Arcs and all of the Parvati and my Kalima and all my team. You're going through them when you're praying. But when you're spraying energy at me to help me heal, it's like, your energy and my energy might not mix so much, so it takes a lot of work to kind of sift and sort, and that's a lot. So have to set up systems to kind of filter that and stuff. So I appreciate the love 100%. It's been awesome, but it's kind of overwhelming sometimes, to have so much energy coming at you. So doing channeling and stuff like that and psychic work, I've been really focusing on my physical body. And finally, after yesterday, I turned a corner for sure. I started feeling better. I'm like, yeah, it must be because I went to a rock shop, a crystal shop, and I got my sister a gift because she's going to fly here and then she's going to drive me home to Minnesota because I can't fly. So, yeah. So I'll have to show that to you if I have time, if I think about it. There's so many things I want to share with you guys. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this, and I'm going to tell you kind of the vibes I get when I'm feeling it. And I want to be able to read these, but I just can't do it because it's just too small. Yeah, I'm so happy I'm still here too. Thank you. I'm glad to be here too. Aw, thank you. So here's the energy that I got. Okay, so when I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience walking down their little road in Hyannis at the compound that they have there, which they still have. I guess they use it for like retreats and stuff, but but it's not open to the public. I'm like, damn, wouldn't that be awesome to go there? And here, let me just button this up just in case it kind of falls open too much here. My shoulders are killing me, you guys. You would not expect this probably, but I mean, my ribs are very sore and my shoulders are just, oh man, it feels like somebody tried to wishbone me. Wishbone me. I'm working on something fun. I want to do something fun for like Black Friday weekend, because I mean, the fact that I'm here is a big deal. And I want to have joy and feel joy and spread joy and feel happiness and help other people feel good about life too, even when life really sucks. Because I was at the place where life really sucked and all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, I could be dead right now and I'm not? Wow, is that interesting? So my team literally said, you have a choice. What do you want to do? Do you want to stay? Do you want to go to Earth or do you want to come here? Do you want to be here? Where do you want to be? And I was on the other side. I'm like, what? I was in the in-between place for a little while, and then I kind of was like over to the other side, and then I was like, I don't want to stay on the other side too long because I know that I would just be there. I wouldn't have come back. And I did tell, one of my significant others that I said, that if I wouldn't have made it, if I would have died, I would have been okay. I would have totally been okay with that, because I know that there's afterlife. I know that there's universe, and I know that I have been through hell and so much pain the last 2 years that in my personal journey, that of course it would make sense that I would die of a broken heart. I mean, of course it would. And I put so much pressure on myself and I wasn't compassionate enough with myself. And I'm like, now I have the chance to be the person for me that I am for other people. And I'm definitely going to do that. So if I can share that journey with you, damn right, I'm going to do it. Damn right. So one of the fun things, the highlights for me, as you know, I've always been interested in the Kennedys. And so is my family. It's like a thing. It's been a thing since I was like a little kid. I wrote papers in 5th grade and 6th grade about the Kennedys, first about JFK, Jack, and then about RFK, Bobby, and all that stuff. And that was like about the time, I think that it was like the 20th or 25th anniversary of his assassination. And so there was like mini series on like ABC or something like that on TV. Remember when they had mini series, like they do it Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and everybody watch it as a big deal like that. I was watching that and was so into it and fascinated by it. And I was in freaking 5th grade. I remember, because I read PT 109 and I read the book 4 Days, and I asked for the book 4 Days, which was about how the country mourned and grieved for the loss of the president, this young man, you know, and it for his family, his little kids and everything. And I was so fascinated by that in 5th grade. Like, that is not a normal thing for a 5th grader. My parents, I know my mom was a little worried, going, oh, it's a little morbid. Why is she so fascinated? I'm like, I didn't know how to explain it, but I was big time. And so I got the book for my birthday, and I just devoured it. And I mean, it's just such a thing. Learned everything I could about the Kennedys. Oh, excuse me. Woo. I do need a nap, you guys. I need a nap. Specifically, RFK and JFK. Specifically, those two. So when I saw this, I was like, what? It's 60th anniversary. It's perfect here to have a conversation about this. So then I'm walking down, so fast forward, I'm here, right? And I'm walking down the street, and I got to show you guys the videos. I think I can just put them on YouTube. If I can't, I can put them on Facebook or TikTok. I can put them on my TikTok. I might have already put them on my TikTok. They might be on my TikTok. Anyway, so it was the coolest thing. It was a beautiful day. It was a sunny day, a little bit windy because it's right by the beach. And there's nobody else around, and I'm just walking down the thing. And I could see the house, and I'm like, oh my God, the Kennedys could have been walking down the street and could have been, I mean, this is like no big deal, you know? And I'm just like, oh my God. I could just picture like photographs from like the 50s and the 60s, the black and whites, you know? And just their family kind of hanging out, playing football, you know, on the grass. And it's a huge piece of land too, like, well, relatively speaking, it's oceanfront. So it's big for oceanfront, but you can't really see it. You can only see the back and the side of it. And there's like a stone, what looks like a fireplace, maybe going up the back with like windows and stuff. And so you couldn't really get a good view. It's white. Couldn't really get a good view, but it was enough for me. You know, I was just being there and feeling the earth grid and knowing that this is their family roots felt so amazing to me. So just feeling that right now and connecting into that, I'm like, what a gift. What a gift. And now I'm here, and it's like 2 weeks from now is when the anniversary of the 60th anniversary of his death is. Like, that's a big deal. It's a really big deal. So I imagine, it's interesting because I imagine Jackie there. And I know she's like not, I mean, she's a Kennedy by marriage, right? But I imagine her there. And I imagine the kids there. Her and John and Caroline, just them playing there, like having it be like this respite for them. And it feels as though, because I can feel her energy, and she kind of comes through first, her energy, with her like soft little pink sweater that she has and her like capri pants. And she feels just very much like this is our space, like our space away from the world. This is where we can be like a typical family, so to speak, and where the kids can just play and be with their cousins. And it's like a safe space for them. And that's how it feels. Very family oriented. And so now I'm trying to feel into him. And for him and his brothers, it's interesting because he's showing me, like I see them like smoking cigars. I don't know if they did or not, but it looks like they're smoking cigars. No, at a different time. This is a different time because when I see her and the kids, it's after he died. Like it's a place for them to be and all that. And just like this feeling of family and like it's getting away from like the reality of the world, and here's a space for us. But then I see him, when I ask him, I try to tap into him. He shows me smoking like cigars, and him and Bobby and Teddy seems more disinterested. Let me just say that. When I see them talking about politics, there's his dad, you know, Joe Sr. and the boys, and then it feels like there's just this disinterested vibe. Like Teddy just seems like whatever. And I'm like, geez, Teddy. Like he just doesn't seem like, I'm like, I'm not trying to be rude or disrespectful, but he just does not seem all that interested. I don't know why, but like it seems like Jack or, you know, John Kennedy and Bobby just seem really more intrigued with like world events and strategy and politics, but they're not talking about domestic affairs. They're talking about global affairs. So, and it's not even like Bay of Pigs and Castro and all that kind of stuff. It's bigger than that. It's like overseas stuff, like other wars and other places, and like almost like this precursor Russia scenario or something. Even something in like Turkey or Sudan, they're showing me different things that I don't really know off the top of my head about international relations. I mean, I took some classes in college, but that was like 30 freaking years ago. So you have to forgive me because I can't make the connections intellectually, but metaphysically, there's all these things and they're fascinated by them. They're just really interested in them. And a lot of civil rights things, but not the civil rights stuff that was plaguing the US at the time was important and impactful, but there was also this layering of this global politics that seemed like the place to focus for the United States in order for it to be like a superpower, in order to be able to, for it to be, in command of its economy and to be really very robust and have money to be able to support other smaller countries and cultures around the world. The US would need to be a force and would need to really have a strong influence and leadership over other types of not disputes, but maybe and not conflicts either, but kind of inserting ourselves in other things strategically, where we didn't have like a make or break scenario, but where it was important enough where we could gain some influence and some support. But it wasn't direct. It was kind of on the side, coming into a big place on the side, doing something for a large country by helping one of its allies without them having to directly help the ally, because it would create some problems internally. So instead we did it, and then we gained some brownie points from that big superpower. And it looks like China, it looks like the USSR, it looks like Cuba doesn't look like a thing. And I know it was, but it, like intellectually, I'm like, but I know it was. But I think it was honestly, I think it was a distraction, is how it feels. That's what the vibe I'm getting. They're talking about it because I'm like Bay of Pigs and all that, and they're like, distraction. It's a distraction. But you still have to deal with it. But it's smoke and mirrors. It's a distraction. You have to understand the economics of things and what's really going on here. What power plays are happening. That's what you got to know. That's what they're saying. That's what you got to know. Mm-hmm. All right. Interesting. Okay. So do you have any recommendations when I say vision board? Because I'm doing a vision board thing. Do you have any recommendations for vision boarding for the rest of us? Like setting intentions and, like your life was cut short like abruptly. And if it wasn't, if you had the opportunity to really kind of think through or plan ahead, what would you say to us? Maybe not about your life, but just general about us and like the whole concept of, because I'm in this place, you guys, where I'm like, how do you plan ahead and live day to day when you're like stressed about little things like the garbage bill, or because like, for example, like the money piece is a thing for me. Like I worry about money. I mean, a lot of people do, I think. But then this happens and I have to take a year leave of absence from my job at the community center because I can't lift. I can't even drive for 3 months. I can't even lift a milk jug for 2 months. I mean, it's ridiculous. And so I had to quit that job, which is sad because I liked it and it was additional supplemental income. So I'm like, oh, shoot. So like that kind of thing. Like, how do you not stress out about the little things, but also pay enough attention to them so that you can do the bigger things and you can contribute in bigger ways? Like if you are really upset about, the war that's happening, the stuff that's going on in Gaza, and you want to donate money or whatever, like you can then, if you have money. But if you don't, then how do you just stress about it? Like, how does that work? And I'm not trying to be political, but I'm just giving examples. And I'm not trying to not be political either, because honestly, you guys, where I'm at now, it's like, you guys, everybody can have their opinions. That's fine. I don't have a problem with it. Just don't be mean about it. And don't expect me to agree with you, because I'm not going to necessarily. Got a 50-50 shot of that, baby. So that's okay. I really am fine with that. I really honestly am like, I don't care. I don't care what you think, because you're not paying my bills. You're not doing my job. You're not taking care of my kids. You're not here. You don't have a stake in my life, kind of thing. So I'm not going to let what you say or think affect me that much. I'm just not. I'm not. Unless you're part of my posse, then I got you. Then I got you back. All right. So what do you think? I'm going to ask him and see what I can feel. This is kind of nice because I'm channeling, but I'm doing it in a way that's really, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's like feely. It's feely, like I'm feeling their energy. Oh, Lisa, hey girl. Hey, my friend from Florida. I can't read your comments. I'll have to do it later, you guys. I will promise I'll read them and I'll probably comment on them later. So I just can't do it where I'm doing this small. He said, I think the key is to consider it like, curate it like an art gallery. Curate the things that you want, the things that you desire, the things that you'd like to have and experience in this lifetime. And you curate it like an art museum. It's not as you have maybe depicted it in the past, he says. It's not necessarily a library of wisdom or knowledge. Maybe for some, maybe that's part of what they'll curate, wisdom or knowledge. And maybe for some it's about history or ancestry. And maybe for others it's about alchemy and understanding the elements. And maybe for others it's about something completely different, having a voice, writing a book, singing, music. It's different for each person. It's very, very deeply personalized. But it is, the one thing in common is the space that you create for that. And it's your space. It's yours. So when you say vision board, the board is the representation of the thinking space, of the thinking mind coming together with the feeling and expressing that, working together to express that. And so it isn't something that is like a to-do list or a task-oriented thing. And I think that's where people get confused, because we see it as like this project plan and these goals and these setting the goals. And while that works well for the mind and for the mental application of something, that especially when it's a group goal or experience or a business or a mission or something like that, or a project, it helps to communicate that across all the people and all the functions. And so there needs to be some of that articulation and shared definition of things. But for what you're talking about for your life, the alignment is within you. And it's really about you understanding. The understanding that you have. And it's not even as much about understanding how you got here, why you have the desires or dreams, but to let yourself step aside from stopping yourself from having those desires and dreams, because it doesn't make sense with your analytical brain or how your life looks now. the idea of dreams and desires is something that is a stretch or a reach. If it was so simple, you would already have it. It wouldn't be something you'd even think about. It would already be here. So it's different than, oh, how attainable is this? It's on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 9. Therefore, then I can have that. No, it doesn't matter how attainable it is. It's just simply the acknowledgement of what the dream or desire is, he says, because it's not even that you're trying to accomplish or create goals or create some kind of project plan around. He says it's just the ability to see what is inside you in a different way. And underneath that original identified dream or desire is a whole host of other things. Clues and cues and information and tidbits of gems of wisdom that will give you more inspiration to explore other things, to learn more about other areas and other things that you've not done yet. Or maybe you did when you were younger at one point in your life, and now you get to come back to that. But you would have never done that. You'd have never remembered that had you not allowed yourself to release, to ease up on some of the resistance for the dreams and desires to come through. Not because those dreams and desires are going to be accomplished or achieved or realized in this lifetime. That is not the point of having a dream. To accomplish it is not the point of the dream. The dream is not here to be accomplished. It's here to breathe you. A dream is here to breathe life into you, to give you whatever it is that you need to fuel you so that you can seek purpose and meaning, and you can share that in the way that you, only you, uniquely you were made to share. And it's not a bold proclamation or a courageous thing necessarily. So you see, it's not as grandiose as it's made to seem. And he says, and that's why I think people are afraid of that. They're afraid of dreaming because if they share that with someone, then there's this accountability piece. Well, that's different. He says, that's different. If you have something that comes from that dream, comes from it, that feels like you want to manifest it or apply it, bring it into real life, then you do that in ways like you use, your project planning tools and techniques. You use your vision, your goals and vision pieces. You use things like that help create a structure that works to be able to articulate that to others and to bring it into the world. But that's not the purpose of a dream, is to do that. It's not necessarily the outcome. The outcome isn't necessarily that. It's not always about the achievement. It's about the awareness of the dream. Because that then will fuel other things that you need to do, that you have to be doing in this lifetime. That serves your purpose, that connects you to your mission. That's the point. That really is the point. That's the point. Okay, so we can be free to dream without the pressure of feeling like we have to achieve or accomplish. Since we're in such a driven society of outcome. That's not to say we should be lazy and not have action, but there's got to be a balance between that. I am learning that myself during this time because action or success for me is walking up and down the stairs. It's actually giving myself permission to take a nap because I'm tired right now. I'm tired, but I've been up since like 4 o'clock this morning, so that's probably why. But yeah, it's just that awareness, and not the pressure, right? All right, my friends, so that is that. We have been having a conversation on Above Life channel. I've been giving you some of the background to my adventures in New England, October of 2023, where I had my surprise open heart surgery and shared with you a little bit about how I ended up in Hyannisport. Thank you very much. Where the Kennedy compound is. Look it up. Google it, you guys. I will have pictures and I will have a little video that I will post for you so you can see that. That was before my heart event, my aortic dissection and aneurysm. That happened on October 13th and 14th this year. So spent about a week in Cape Cod Hospital, and now I'm in Maine, which brings me to another important announcement. I am actually going to be making my journey home to Minnesota this weekend on Saturday. My sister, my driver, she's going to be flying into Boston, and then we're going to be leaving. I think we might go through, I don't know if we're going to go through Connecticut, New York. I'm not sure the route we're going to take, but we're going to take our time. We're going to drive 5 to 6 hours a day, and that's it. And the first day we'll probably only drive a couple of hours, so maybe we'll stay in Connecticut or New York the first night. I'm not sure, but because I will have already driven 2 hours that day, and I have to be careful because there's some risks for me. Post-surgery, I have to be real careful. So I got to move a lot and be real hydrated. And yeah, I can't be in the car that long at one time. So I'm going to have to take some breaks and stuff. So I'll be doing that. And then we're going to drive. We'll probably be home on Tuesday or Wednesday. So thank you, by the way, for those of you who have gone to Above Life channel on Facebook, or have gone to my Bright and Birch page on, I think TikTok. Did I share it on TikTok? TikTok. Whoops. Funny. I posted my Venmo, link to my Venmo, so that I could get support, which I actually helped me. The financial support that I got originally helped me rent a car and pay for 2 nights hotel to get from Maine, or to get from Massachusetts, Hyannisport, Massachusetts, to Maine to get here. And it was a couple hours, about 3-hour drive. But we only went halfway because I couldn't go the whole way because I had just been released from the ICU. I could not sit in the car that long. So we did half seas, went halfway, stayed in Portsmouth area, New Hampshire, and then came to Maine. So, and then it's also the money that I've received, thank you very much, has also been helping me get like things like coffee and chocolates. And actually I just got a Target order. Oh, I can't reach. Just got a Target order with some yummy, healthy food, because now I got to change my diet, as you can imagine. So I got some healthy foods that I can eat. Fresh veggies and fruit. So thank you for that. That was awesome. I really appreciate it. So yeah, and I got some slippers. I'll show you my slippers. Got some cozy slippers. They're only like $12. They were cheap, but I needed some because this house has hardwood floors. It's an old house. It's hardwood floors and it was cold. So that's like the first thing I ordered was that and a little throw blanket that I could snuggle with, because I knew I was going to be here for a while. So tomorrow will be 4 weeks, I think 4 weeks post-surgery. I think tomorrow will be. On the 8th, is today the 8th? Yeah, today's the 8th, isn't it? It's been a month since I've been here. So I came here on the 8th, so to New England. So I've been here for a month. I've been away from my kids. They haven't seen me. They've only FaceTimed me. So I'm looking forward to seeing them and getting hugs and all that, So yeah, that's the next step of the journey. So I'm rented a car. I had to rent like a minivan so that I could sit up high, because I can't bend over. Like if I drop something on the ground, I can't pick it up. I can't, because it can't bend the incision like that, because it's a problem. Plus it really hurts inside. It horribly hurts. So you can't really do that. So I had to get a minivan, which is way more expensive than those little Toyota Corollas and stuff. But I can't push myself up with my arms. I just can't do that. So did that. I think I have a hot pad right here, actually. I was going to turn it on when I was talking to you, and I forgot. I also got a heating pad, you guys, because I really needed one so bad, which I highly recommend if you're like recovering from stuff and you need super awesome heating pad. Hello. Very good. I'm going to turn this to, let's do a number 3. How about that? 4. Yeah, there we go. I think I might get one for the car ride because it helped with my back. It's really sore and achy and stuff because I can't, like I said, I can't sleep on my right side or left side, and I always used to do that, so it's weird. So I can't sleep in long stints right now, which is normal. I'm sure this will all get better. I'm sure of it, you guys. It's just temporary. That's the way I'm looking at it. It's just one thing. And I mean, like I said, hey, I got a body. All right. Like, okay, yeah, I got a body. I'm going to work this body. Yes, I am. So I'm thinking about getting one of those, like, ones that plug into the car so I can have a heating thing. Because I don't think the seats will be heated because it's not a fancy car. I didn't get some SUV thing. Awesome. No, I'm sure it's not going to be heated. So maybe I'll do that because that should help my back a bit too. So, yeah. All right, so that's that. So we've had a little chat with, I've shared with you a little bit about my experience in Hyannis and in Cape Cod. And we've talked a little bit about the Kennedys. We've had a little glimpse into them, just a titch here. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope I've inspired your spirit and filled you with some hope today and encouraged you to live your life. It's your life after all, and you get to live it. Just live it. I had no idea how important that tagline was going to be when I created it. Just live it. Lots of love to you guys. Thanks for being here. Have a great rest of your day.